The demand for group and private events is at an all-time high. Is your business ready to capitalize on all these opportunities? With Restaurant as your booking partner, you can ensure event success this year and beyond.
With no booking fees or commissions, Restaurant has helped over 2,000 restaurants, bars, and breweries reach local event planners who are looking for a space for their next gathering. Whether it's a birthday, anniversary, graduation, or corporate event, Restaurant will get your space booked.
Try it today and receive 3 months completely risk-free by signing up at restaurant.com/podcast. That's restaurant.com/podcast.
Hi, everyone. I'm Claudia Sarek.
And I'm Spencer Michael.
And this is So You Want to Run a Restaurant, created by the team at backofhouse.io, the most trusted resource for restaurant tech.
All right, Claudia, this week's guest is a big one. This is a big one. We're heading to Traverse City, Michigan, one of my favorite spots that I've been to.
Yeah.
To talk to Chef Elliott at Modern Bird.
Yes, and not just any chef. Modern Bird was just named one of the New York Times 50 best restaurants in America. So huge deal for Andy and his wife Emily and for Michigan's food scene.
I love seeing that. A smaller market restaurant breaking into the national spotlight. It's proof that great food and storytelling can come from anywhere, not just big metropolitan areas, but small towns as well.
Exactly. And what we're going to talk to Andy more about today is that his story didn't start with a big fancy launch. They actually started selling hand pies and scones at the farmers market in Traverse City when they moved up there. And now, fast forward and they're on the New York Times best restaurant list. So it's a really wild story.
Total full circle moment for him.
Yeah.
So in today's episode, we dig into their journey, the early lessons from Chicago's fine dining scene, and that's where he met his wife, and then what it's like to then build a restaurant in a small town with your family, and how to balance now the hype that's coming from this notoriety, as well as staying humble and staying true to yourself.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. Here's our conversation with Andy Elliott of Modern Bird. Well, Andy, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, okay, first off, I have to wish you a huge congratulations because you were just named on the New York Times 50 best restaurants in America list.
Done.
Well done.
That is so cool.
That's awesome.
So cool. So how did it feel to be named that for you and your team and everybody around you?
It was a big surprise. I mean, Traverse City is a very small town. And, certainly we knew that there's somebody from the New York Times in the restaurant, but we didn't think it was for that.
Oh, you did know?
Yeah, we Google everybody that, if you make a reservation with us and your name's on the reservation, we're going to
I thought you could just spot a New Yorker from a mile away.
That's what I thought. I was like, did they come in with a
guy?
notepad and a microscope or something? Like what? Actually, I do kind of want to know the process now.
Yeah. So I mean, the writer's from Michigan, so we just assumed that she was up here on vacation, and that was not the case. So
nice.
And a food writer in Chicago texted me that Monday night before it came out, or the Monday night that it came out, and was like, "Congratulations, blah blah blah." And I said, "What the hell are you talking about?" And because
wait, they didn't even tell you ahead of time to prepare you.
No, I mean, they fact checked, they got photos, but we had been in New York Times before in a listicle. Like in the 36 hours thing, which was awesome. We were supposed to be in another one. We got dropped from that article. So you just you don't know. You don't go into it with any expectations. I assumed it was, something about the region again, so on and so forth. But they don't tell you because you might not make the publication.
I see.
Okay.
I feel like it's like Oprah's favorite things list where they had to start telling people ahead of time because apparently when they did the Oprah's favorite things, some of the companies were so tiny they imploded because they got flooded with a million orders overnight, and they were like, we don't have the supply chain for this. So,
well, luckily with the restaurant there is a cap on how much you can do. In a day.
Of course. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
We only have so many seats.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And for those of you watching, this is so, as the former restaurant nerdy guy that I am and former cook, seeing you sit in this office that is the quintessential restaurant office is cluttered with things. There's a drill, there's a Ryobi drill that's about to fix something behind you, or maybe it did, or maybe it's been sitting there for about 3 months, and you're drinking your iced coffee out of a portion cup. This is as authentic as it gets. This is you're in the mid shift, and you chose to sit down and talk to us. So we very much appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, Andy, take us back to the beginning. Where did your love for food and cooking first start?
Probably with my mom and my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
They're both great cooks. My grandma is Italian American. She was born in the city of Chicago, but couldn't speak English, so she went to kindergarten type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody just kind of hung out in the kitchen because
Yeah.
that's where all the good stuff was. You know, my mom probably still has a stack of like Bon Appetits and Food and Wines under her bed right now.
Oh, that's funny.
So it's just food was always really, really important growing up. And
Yeah.
I think it's like a powerful thing for little kids too. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
I was probably 8 or 9. I learned how to make scrambled eggs in my grandma's kitchen, you know,
Yeah.
and that was just like a powerful thing to be able to make something from nothing and feed
Yeah.
myself, you know.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah,
my
my
parents
daughter's French
worked
toast
full
is
time.
expert.
Yeah.
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 Really?
She's phenomenal at making French
Yeah.
toast. She's 11.
wow.
Yeah. And she's excellent at it.
It was
And
the
then, you know,
baking. It was the baking for me.
Now, when your
Yeah.
son's old enough, are you going to bring him into the restaurant and to wash dishes to completely break his spirits? Just ruin
No.
the romantic notion of the kitchen right there?
There's no plans of doing that. I mean,
Yeah.
there's better ways to work hard and make money in this life.
Yeah.
Is there a, I can't believe I survived this service moment that stands out? I'm sure there's probably a few. Is there one that like, am I actually going to do this for the rest of my life type moment?
I wouldn't say that I was ever like questioning whether or not I wanted to be in the industry. I made a very conscious choice to do this, and I read a lot about the industry when I was in high school, during my freshman year of college, before I ultimately decided to pursue this as a career. So I wasn't really surprised by any of it. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of moments where you do your best and it's not good enough, and
Yeah.
it really, really sucks, you know?
Yeah. Empty feelings.
Well, especially the
Yeah.
places that you trained at. Technology decisions can make or break a restaurant. That's why restaurants turn to Back of House, your guide to smarter tech strategy. From point of sale systems to online ordering, labor tools, and guest engagement platforms, Back of House helps you cut through the noise with expert insights, comparisons, and best practices. Don't just buy tech, build a strategy that grows your business. Visit backofhouse.io and get the clarity you need to choose the right tools for your restaurant. I saw you trained at Boka, GT Fish and Oyster, Ria. I mean, those are like really, really big names in Chicago. So
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit about that and what that was like.
So I got a job at a restaurant that is long gone, closed in 2008. While I was in culinary school, I worked at like a Panera in high school. So that was my only previous restaurant experience.
Yeah.
It was '08, so everything was shutting down and the restaurant was failing. We all left, but I needed to do an internship. And I was staging around the city and not really excited about kind of any of the places that I was staging at. And so I called my chef as Jeff Morrow, not the Sandwich King, the other Jeff Morrow. And
I did wonder that. I'm like, wait, the sandwich guy?
yeah, no. He said call Giuseppe at Boka. He gave me his cell phone number. Called him twice, left 2 voicemails, didn't get a call back. So I just went over there between classes one day and knocked on the back door. And they gave me a stage and I got an internship there. And then I was there for like 3 years. So Boca is probably like that experience there is probably the most important that I've had in my career.
Yeah. They're no joke.
Yeah. Everybody was super passionate. Most of the people I worked with back then either have their own place or running their own restaurant, or, you know, back house at a restaurant. A couple guys are culinary directors of groups, so on and so forth. So it was hard to get a cook job at a meaningful restaurant back then. You really had to push yourself and prove that you were kind of worthy of being there. It's not like, it's not like today where employers are fighting to find good people just because the pool's shallow.
Yeah.
So I never worked with Stephanie. No, I mean, we've met each other a couple times just around the way, but I don't like have her phone number or anything like that.
So for those that are listeners that don't know, Boca's big in a restaurant group in Chicago, and they have some of the most incredible, iconic restaurants in their groups.
It's crazy to me how big they've gotten.
Was it always a plan for you to run your own place? Is that always part of your goal, or did that kind of just sneak up on you one day?
No, it didn't sneak up on me. I think ultimately, you know, if you're passionate about this industry, you probably have some sort of entrepreneurial spirit, whether you realize it or
Right.
not.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, the goal was always to have my name on a menu, right? Now, I don't print my name on the
Right.
menu now, but you know what I mean, right? Like that was a big
Mhm.
thing back
Yeah.
then, executive chef or whatever. So, didn't really know what form or fashion that would take. It's
Mhm.
just kind of, I tried to be really conscious about where I was working and put myself in a position to be uncomfortable and, try to level up, I guess,
Yeah.
as you go along.
So when did you meet your wife, and when did you guys decide that you were going to start trying your hand at all these creations at farmers markets? Because I read that that's kind of where this
Yeah.
started.
So we met at Boka actually. She was
Oh wow.
yeah. I had been there probably 2.5 years at that
Yeah.
time. And she started as an intern and she got moved up to the hotline onto my station and,
Oh
things
wow.
happen. Yeah.
This was in usually it's across from the service staff to the kitchen staff, but or even other areas of the kitchen. Or she
Right.
was direct. You were her direct superior. This is or a supervisor, I guess
Yeah.
you could say.
Yeah.
It rarely happens like that because there's some tense moments between supervisor and employee in a restaurant.
Yeah. And there certainly were. I mean, service is service, and when it's done, it's done. It's not, you kind of have to learn how to not take that home with you.
Yeah.
Good for you two.
I'm
That's
leaning in because I
impressive.
love a good love story. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. So okay, but then tell us how you guys initially started this and then started doing the farmers market stuff.
Yeah, so 2018 we moved up here, kind of solely because we wanted to live here. There's certainly a lot of calculus that went into that, but
Mm-hmm.
when you get to the bottom line, it's just a nice place to live. We knew we wanted to try to go into business for ourselves up here. We had no idea what form or fashion that would take. Emily's family has a cottage up here, so she's been coming up here her entire life, but it's a way different thing to visit in the summer than it is to be a year-round resident in a
Yeah.
market. So we kind of wanted to slow roll it, kind of figure out what people wanted and needed and what we wanted to do. But as you guys, I'm sure, are aware, it's like really, really important to have contacts in any industry that you're in any
Yeah.
market that you're in. So we had the name, and there's cottage food law in Michigan where you can bake out of your house, sell it at a farmer's market. So like, let's just do a stand at the farmer's market. We'll do, Pop Tarts and bread and pastries, so on and so forth. Just to put a name
Yeah.
out there and just to
Yeah.
start meeting people, getting to know farmers, which has become super, super important what we do here at Modern Bird now, and kind of figure out what it is we want to do.
Well, it sounds like a really good testing ground for
Yeah.
somebody. And it's lucky. It's nice that Michigan has that law. I actually wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
after the first year, we had to rent commercial space, but that's another box.
That's a good problem to have, though. That was
It's a
no
good
kidding.
problem to have.
Yeah. Wow.
Mhm.
Good for you.
Yeah. So, Traverse City is just if you come here and you want to do something and you try, people will get behind you. So it's
Hmm.
it's really,
Very
really nice in that way.
seasonal there as well. It is so pretty, so beautiful, and it is such a cool summer vibe town to go and visit and be on the lake and on the end. And they've got incredible restaurants, obviously like yours. But then, of course, all of that ends. And for locals like yourself, how do you keep the momentum going from, okay, the tourist season is done and now we have to rely on locals? Obviously, you're not as busy, but is there a different strategy on how you serve or what you serve, or is it everything just status quo, just fewer staff?
I mean, we certainly do like a few special events throughout the wintertime. We'll do wine dinners with local wineries. We have a collaboration dinner coming up in December with some local chefs. But really, how we decided we wanted to figure that out was really just the size of the space. I'm sure you saw when you were up here, there's not big 200-seat restaurants up here because it's not sustainable. Certainly, you're going to put a little ceiling on your revenue by only having 50 seats like we do. But in March and April, which are actually the slow months, we can have 20 people in the room and it doesn't feel empty. There's still a vibe. It still feels like a lively restaurant. So that's really the best way that we've come up with to kind of deal with that.
Yeah. When did you
And
open
it's
the restaurant?
July of 22.
Oh, you've come such a
Yeah.
long way.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But it's not as seasonal as you might think, like people don't close during the winter. It's sustainable.
Right.
And the season's longer than you think it is too. Halloween is really the last busy weekend, and then it
Right.
kind of trickles off. And we've been
Yeah.
busy all week prior to now to today, and so on and so forth. So
Wow. Well, talk us a little bit more about like the menu and the creation of that. I know you said you've also the relationships that you made at the farmers market originally with some of the local farmers, because I think I read that a lot of on your website that a lot of the food that you're using is regional, like the vegetables, the fruit, the fish, the livestock, all of that. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
yeah, so it's mostly most of the produce comes from, within 10 miles of here. And not because it's local, it's just really, really good. And certainly that was part of the calculus of moving up here was, Emily and I have had the great fortune to travel to a few places and places of note when it comes to growing produce. And this is just as good as any of them.
Right.
Not to mention Michigan as a whole, which is second only to California in agricultural diversity. So if you do what we do for a living, it's like, how could you not use it? So and I guess the other piece of that is you have to put yourself in a little box creatively. You can't do everything all the time. So we just kind of let the local produce lead the way, reading the list from the farmers, going to the farmers market. And even if it's not like a headline thing on the menu, like we have an octopus dish right now that's got like a potato puree, and I'm from Chicago, so there's jardinera on there. Well, it really just started with the jardinera. Because whenever cauliflower is in season, I make a bunch of jardinera, like 50 quarts worth. And then we have to figure out something to do with it. I don't know how it came to fruition in my brain, but
I know. I'm thinking, I'm like
potato,
octopus and
octopus,
jardinera. Wow.
I promise it works. But, I came up cooking American fine dining, right? Like there is no guidepost for that. And, now we're going into what would this be, our fourth winter. So I kind of know what's around. So it's like, okay, what am I going to do with celery root? What am I going to do with potatoes? What am I going to do with carrots and beets and all the storage crop that is all we're going to have access to for probably the next 4, 5, 6 months.
That's interesting because I have heard, there's vegetarian dishes, and then there's the veggie-centric dishes that you sort of became popularity a few years ago. Now, this is not sort of veggie-centric. That is an octopus dish you're putting together, but it was the inspiration of the local produce that led you to how can I complement what I've made with the veggies, essentially.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just all it is.
Yeah. Simple. It seems simple, but why not? If that's the star of your local area is the phenomenal produce, why not make that your inspiration?
And, I think the other thing that is often overlooked is like, there's only so much I can do to a carrot to make it taste good. It might as well be good coming in the back door.
That's very true. Yes.
Although I'm also amazed at what you can do with carrots.
Yeah. Made like carrot katsubushi one time. That
very nice.
GT fish. It didn't make the menu, but I don't know what the hell I was going to do with it.
I put all my creative juices into it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Has there been momentum from the New York Times list of being in the top 50 restaurants? Has that changed things for you at all?
Yeah, we had a pretty good October.
That's good.
I bet.
September stays busy. October is usually good because we get all the leaf tourists.
Oh yes, the influencer crowd.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we've kind of sustained summer numbers up until this week, which is really nice. And now we're kind of back into that. We'll do like 70 to 80% of a peak night Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we'll still do peak numbers on Friday and Saturday, which is pretty typical for October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that people are surprised by what you're doing in Traverse City, like maybe expecting something more casual or more traditional, or is that everybody?
No, I think for the size of town that Traverse City is, it's very, very sophisticated. I think it surprises a lot of people, especially people from bigger markets. Everybody kind of knows what's good. You don't have to be like a foodie or know everything about the restaurant industry to know what's hitting your palate is good. And kind of again with the local produce and all that, there's like some really good restaurants in here. The Cook's House, for example, was a James Beard finalist this year, which is crazy for a town of 16,000 people. So
it's amazing.
People asked like, oh, were you worried to do a concept like that? Hell no.
Yeah.
No. Like, yeah.
I like that.
There was a brewery when I was there. It was further out of town. They were on a farm.
Farm Club?
Yes, that was it.
Mhm.
And it was literal farm to table. Literally, I think they had this farm board that we got with our beer
Yeah.
was purchased, and I think they'd picked it just before we got there, and
Yep.
it was raw vegetables, which I'm like I have not been served raw vegetables in a restaurant in a long time. And it was so delicious and it was so good. And not to obviously we're here to promote yourself, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
promote a
No, that's
local
fine.
trip. But I think maybe just the Traverse City restaurant kind of scene as a whole is probably different than you're going to find in a metropolitan area, but I was so very impressed, and I think for those of you listening, if you've got time this summer, or even go when it's not the hot time of the year, visit Traverse City, and of course go to Modern Bird because it
Yeah.
is a beautiful little hidden gem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
should be
mean,
on the local council, Spencer.
Yeah, here I am just promoting. Yeah, like exactly.
Choose Traverse City. The next time I
Exactly.
hear one of those like pure Michigan, it's like Tim Allen's
yeah.
out, Spencer's in.
Yes,
Well, I'll
exactly.
never forget like when the bus stop across the street from GT Fish one year had
Mhm.
like a big Traverse City ad plastered all over it.
Oh wow. Yeah, but
They
you
do
knew
they
it was
do just
calling
fine.
you.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
worked
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Look, they got
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
They got you.
No
You are
kidding.
the
Yeah.
advertisement.
Right.
Your wife both decide together the menu, or does she decide mostly anything that's the pastry, the baking side?
So she does most of the pastry and baking side, but
Mhm.
we're constantly bouncing ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
We try to make it as collaborative as possible. Like we each kind of have veto power over each other too. Like I love sweetbreads. They don't sell. I've
Mm.
had them on the menu a couple times. I wanted to put
Hmm.
them back on the menu. She's like, no. I was like, well, I bought a case of sweetbreads. Like, that's too bad.
Yeah,
Like,
put 'em in the
they're not
freezer.
going on the menu. So, yeah, it's just kind of like that. And then, certainly at home after our son goes to bed, if we're not vegging out to football or whatever, it's
Mhm.
like, all right, like we got to change the menu. What are we going to do? What should I do with blah, blah, blah this year? So, yeah.
Sounds like it works though. I feel like sometimes
Yeah.
you hear horror stories about going into business with your family, but then man, when it works, it really works.
Yeah, I think, we separate the two things as best we can, and we're both pretty good at delegating.
Yeah. So, what does the next, I don't know, couple years look like for you in the restaurant? Are you planning any expansions, new revenue
Not
streams, locations?
So we have a private dining room that just opened in August
Okay.
after years of trying to get that up and running. We're trying to figure out if we can expand to do more catering. So certainly the wedding business is good up here. People come up here to get married all year.
Yeah.
But we just don't have the bandwidth to do more than, I think we're signed up for 4 weddings in 26 already, and that's probably about as much as we can do.
Mm,
For the bigger ones, I have to close the restaurant to
sure.
do them, and it's great from a business perspective. The revenue is there, but there seems like there's a lot more opportunity to do more. So I think oftentimes people don't realize that like the restaurant works because it's in the space that it's in. It's on
Mm,
the piece of street that it's on. It's so on and so forth. So to certainly people move restaurants. I don't know how they do it. It makes no sense to me because Modern Bird can only exist at 541 West Front Street in Traverse City. So,
Hmm.
yeah. Well, there's
yeah.
a lot of pieces that go into a successful restaurant. It's not just about the staff and the food, although I get that that's like a big part of it, but location
Hmm.
really matters and all the little pieces that are around that.
Yeah, we're very, very fortunate to find this building when we did.
Yeah.
But I think being 5 blocks down the street, have a little bit more leeway to do pretty much whatever we want to be a little bit discoverable and not have to have a kids menu, for instance. Like
Hmm.
Right.
there's no kids menu here. There's no buttered noodles or whatever. Like we want kids to eat here. We're happy to have kids here, but there's not, I don't have like chicken fingers in the freezer.
Yeah, makes
Yeah,
sense.
it makes sense. So,
Mm,
general question about the industry,
sure.
and I think you're well adept to answer it because you've been in the big city, you've been in some major restaurant operations, and now you're running your own in a small city. Anything you would change, magic wand, about the restaurant industry as a whole right now? Something that maybe is broken that you'd love to fix across the industry, or something you just love to see improve?
I really, really don't like tipping. I think it creates a big pay disparity between the front and back of house. I think it's just an antiquated, broken system, a vestige of a time that we don't need to relive. It's really, really hard to eliminate it as an operator.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because you can't explain. I've run the numbers. Everything across the board would have to be 30% more expensive. And it's hard to explain that to a consumer that's not aware of why tipping works or how it works and what that means for us as a business. And the first one through the door oftentimes gets bloody,
Yeah.
and I'm not really
Yeah.
willing to do that at this point.
No.
We're only 3.5 years. Maybe talk to me after it's been open for 10 years and I'll change my tune. But
It's
look at everybody in the pandemic, like
I was
one
going to say
off
the
or
pandemic just changed the whole tipping culture as well.
well,
100%.
Union Square went back to tipping during the pandemic, which is
Yeah.
crazy. Danny Meyer led the charge on that, and then because of the environment of the pandemic, they went back. I don't know if they've, since gone back to the no tipping thing. And frankly, I really like no tipping restaurants. Like Emily and I went to 11 Madison Park for our first anniversary in 2016, and I thought it was really reasonable for what we got. It
Right.
was a 4-figure bill, but it was also like I didn't feel like, I got cheated out of anything because I didn't get to decide what was on the tip line.
Right.
Yeah. I
And
kind of
and
like it
then
too.
tipping culture has gotten into this whole thing with, like you got to tip at the drive-through at Starbucks. And it's like, why the hell do I like,
You
because
don't
you're a
have
big
to.
multinational corporation. You
I know,
can't
but you
figure
feel
out.
bad when they turn the screen around at the places and
Right.
they're
What
sitting
drives
right
me
in front of
nuts
you.
is
You
though
know?
It's
because
like you just poured me an iced coffee. Come on.
Yeah.
in Canada we've done cashless for longer than I think the US has done.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
had debit and credit payments, and so I know for a fact that they could turn that tip function off. It's not like the point of sale system is saying, no, leave this on. They can turn it on and they don't. And so I have no problem knowing that. I have no problem. Like, I almost want to say, like, how do I hit 0 on here? Is there a 0 button? This is counter service. And I think, for my perspective, when I moved from the kitchen to serving, it was like, I have to do this. Like, what am I doing? Look at all the money they're making. I'd be silly not to. And so I moved in the dining room, and my wife and I worked at these two places just down the street from each other. And she was at this crazy busy pub, and I was in a dining room at a steakhouse. And I felt like at the end, I'm like, I'm stealing money almost, because I was here for 4 or 5 hours. I served a handful of people. The check average was so high, and I made my percentage of it. And then my wife has a 25 table section, and she's running and making it kind of piecemeal. I'm like, you deserve every ounce of that money. You deserve every red cent
Right.
because you were running off your feet. And we weren't complaining because we'd bring the money back to the household. But I find there is a disparity in there about a high-end dining room making a percentage of this extremely large bill.
Mhm.
You better be so knowledgeable about everything that's on that menu. You better know everything about the wines. I think that's where you earn your money as a server, which of course rarely happens, as opposed to when you go to the bar or a pub or somewhere that is, you see these servers running off their feet, and they're at one table, they're yelling, "Can I get you another beer over there?" And like, that's their life. I have no problem putting extra money for them
Yeah.
on the bill. But yeah, but I think, and then for me, counter service tipping culture, I think that needs to be completely done. Like, I should not have to make 2 steps on the screen to say, no, I'm not leaving a tip at the drive-through. Yeah.
Right. And, I think it's like a lot of things that it started with noble intentions and then people took advantage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not
100%.
talking about small operators. I'm talking about the Starbucks of the world, right?
Oh, 100%.
Because in most states, they get a credit on that. They get a tip credit because the tips are making up for wages that they're not paying. It
Yeah.
just doesn't, none of it sits right with me. It's so multifaceted. I think about it a lot.
Me too.
But,
I think maybe it starts here with us on this podcast. Starbucks, everybody, turn the tip function off on your point of sale.
But then are you stealing from those employees because Starbucks is only paying them $12 an hour?
Well, that's the argument,
Well, that's the
right?
other thing, right?
Yeah.
And so states, Michigan's one of them, have done things to combat that. And Michigan's getting rid of the tip minimum wage, and they're phasing in a minimum wage across the board. But again, from the operator standpoint, it's like my tipped employees are making like 40, 45, $50 an hour. You know what I mean? Like they're doing just fine. And again, it's most consumers don't know that I'm going to have to pay them 15, 16, 17, $18 an hour, and they're going to still tip 20% on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you reconcile the two things? And then also, oh yeah, now everything's more expensive because my payroll just went up by X percent. I don't know. The whole thing is really dirty and yucky, and that's just one reason I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like there's so many.
Yeah,
This
I
has
feel
been
like we
good
could do.
conversation. Yeah.
I know. I feel like we could do an entire like hour-long episode on tipping culture and the industry and where it's headed, where do people want it to go, et cetera, et cetera. But
I think it's just like so ingrained in American culture that
well, that too,
it's
right?
hard
Like,
to get rid of.
yeah, it's a huge part of being here.
Mhm.
I haven't, I've thought about it a lot, and I haven't come up with a great way of getting rid of it. So.
Yeah. Well, apparently the industry hasn't either.
There's-
So,
Right.
yeah.
To put a bow on it, because this is actually recent, and there's a very busy brewery down the street from me, and they've just opened, and they are absolutely just going crazy. Huge, 400 seats. So it's counter service, like a brewery. You go up and there's got servers. So basically, they're pooling all the tips. And I heard anecdotally that one of the dishwashers is making like $30 an hour or something because they're so busy.
That's great.
And so I like, hey, that's great. Like for this kid washing dishes, and everybody is making money in that place because you put down your 10, 15%, whatever you want to do. And it goes to every single person that touched your food and drink in that area. And so I don't know if that's the way. It's like you must pool tips. It doesn't go to one person. But anyways, we can table this because it sounds like we could spend a long time on this. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got to get to the on the fly round.
We got to get to on the fly
Spencer.
questions.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Andy, we have a lightning round question that we do, but we call it on the fly now.
I need 2 on the fly.
First question, first thing that comes to mind. What's one ingredient that you can't live without in your kitchen?
Olive oil.
Not
That's a
sweetbreads.
staple.
All right.
No, not sweetbreads.
All
That
right.
would have been a good answer. Send this
All right.
to my wife. Send the clip to my wife.
It's like, we must. I can't get enough sweetbreads in this place. Favorite late night food that isn't from your own restaurant?
American Chinese food.
Oh man,
Heck yeah. I love
Yeah.
Chinese food too.
It's such a guilty pleasure.
People ask me like what I miss about Chicago,
hmm
and there's a few things, but like in the top 3 is probably the ability to order Chinese food at 2 a.m.
And you can get some pretty good stuff too,
Oh,
I
yeah.
know.
especially if you DoorDash from Chinatown. Creme de la
Yeah.
creme. All right, if Modern Bird had a theme song, what would it be?
Modern Love by David Bowie.
Oh wow. Right. That's good.
That's the origin of the name.
That's what I thought. I was like, actually,
that was
tell
a
people.
softball then. Okay.
That was a softball.
Let me lob this one up to you. What's the one dish you will never take off the menu, no matter what?
Bread.
Nice.
Emily's bread it's really, really good.
Oh, good.
It's probably the best thing on the menu, honestly.
This is your
And I
wife's
can say that because it's
recipe,
not
or?
mine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Well,
Nice.
all right. I can't wait to go back to
I
Traverse
know.
City. And
Now we've got another restaurant on our list from Michigan. I feel like
Yeah.
the Michigan list is growing, Spencer.
It absolutely is.
Thanks
It's a
for
lovely
being
little
here with
state.
us. Yeah,
Thank
it
you
really
guys.
is.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today, Andy. This was awesome.
Yeah, it's been
Appreciate
great. Andy.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So You Want to Run a Restaurant is created by Back of House, produced and hosted by Claudia Sarek, with Nick Florick as executive producer. Marketing by Hillary Young and Ashley Dunn. Creative by Manisha Kishenchand. And live production by Sarah Heemstra. And of course me, your co-host, Spencer Michael. For more information, visit backofhouse.io/podcast.